Have a seat. I'd like to introduce the Mayor of Warsaw, Dr. Joe Talamer.
I was going to put my regular glasses on, but I think in this position I'll leave the sunglasses on. I hope it doesn't detract here. Well, on behalf of the City of Warsaw, I appreciate the opportunity to spend a few moments and reflect with all of you on this 11th anniversary of 9/11. I'm thankful that we are free to gather here in this Warsaw Central Park and share our feelings openly. Would also like to thank all those sitting behind me who have worked and prepared to put this program together. I'd like to acknowledge elected officials, Rebecca Kabaki, our state representative, Dan Hampton, county prosecutor, former Mayor Ernie Wiggins, and I don't know if I missed anyone else, but I would like to thank them for their participation tonight. The impact of the events of September 11th, 2001 on our country, that beautiful morning on the East Coast, was profound. Like that fateful day in Hawaii some 60 years earlier, we never knew what hit us. I remember feeling numb as the events unfolded. The words of those reporting the news that day became unintelligible. Those video clips shown over and over just began to blur. Time seemed to stand still. 11 years later, we can still feel the horror. We can still feel the hurt. How and why did that happen to us right here in our homeland, our safe and protected homeland? Many of you recall or remember hearing a hit song from the early 70s written by folk singer Don McLean. You remember the words, "Bye bye, Miss American Pie. Drove my Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry." It was a very popular song, and it was about a single event that changed history. In this case, it was an airplane crash that claimed the lives of rock and roll legends Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, and the Big Bopper, and how that single event altered the course of music history. Remember that infamous tagline from the song? For it was the day the music died. I vividly remember 11 years ago. Like today, it was a Tuesday, and like many of you, I was starting my morning in the office when the news first hit. My initial reaction to the events in New York City, Washington, D.C., and Shanksville, Pennsylvania was disbelief. I tried to rationalize what was happening. Like you and the rest of our community here in Middle America, it just seemed preposterous that one, much less two passenger airliners would deliberately hit the World Trade Center. Then as things unfolded in a whirl of media coverage, it became apparent that single event was about to change history again. For a moment, the idea that America's homeland was safe and secure was gone. Our naivety crumbled with the towers. Shock took over as the carnage unfolded. There was a time that day when the Vice President and Secretary of State were being hustled to a fortified, deep underground bunker for protection. There was a gargantuan cloud of dust enveloping New York City. There was even talk of shooting down commercial airliners that were suspected of harboring more terrorists. It was like one of those old black and white movies with Godzilla stomping through the streets, or spaceships from Mars blasting everything in sight. I truly remember at one point during that day wondering, is this it? Anger replaced the shock when it became apparent that cowards were responsible for this horrendous loss of innocent life. Chaos took over and ran rampant with the uncertainty of what could possibly happen next. And finally, disbelief set in as the images of the aftermath filled our television sets and the totality of the attack began to settle in. We all felt it, a dent in the armor of our secure way of life. Right here in Warsaw, Indiana, 9/11 was the day the music died. Well, in my mind, that feeling of despair didn't last too long. The heroes began to emerge. Bravery overshadowed cowardice. Our policemen and women, our firefighters and emergency medical personnel responded within minutes of the first alarm and gave themselves to protect and save the innocent as a tragedy was just beginning to unfold. Our country mobilized as our President and Commander-in-Chief put our country on high alert. While the ashes and debris were still smoldering, justice was being sought for those responsible. But it was those who perished that are memorialized in the name of freedom, those names of which are being read aloud across this nation today as they have been every anniversary since. These are the faces of our families and communities that refuse to succumb to the Muslim extremists. As we picked ourselves up, oh, how that feeling of pride and servitude stirred the hearts of everyone across the land and right here in Warsaw, Indiana. Things will never be the same. We will never forget those images. We will always remember those heroes. The value of preparedness, the value of leadership, the value of community will never be underestimated. Lessons learned. As we sit here this evening, 11 years later, and hundreds of miles from ground zero, we know that event, that day, altered the course of human history. It changed our lives. It strengthened our resolve the hard way. History was changed, and all of us must be courageous patriots and selfless leaders, as those brave Americans so aptly displayed on that day the music died. In closing, I think it's appropriate to share the complete last line of verse 1 of that song. But something touched me deep inside the day the music died. Thank you. God bless you all.